I'm outside of Lowe's shopping center, and we're about to go inside and try to find some of the cool equipment and resources that we have been discussing thus far. We'll be spending a lot of time in the garden center, which is where we'll find a lot of the materials like compost, mulch, and plants and mulch. All right, come on. These are definitely plants that you can put in your garden. And as you can see, we're now at Lowe's. You can see right there. You can tell that it's Lowe's because it's not Home Depot. There are all sorts of exciting plants that you can buy. For example, summer squash. Summer squash grows in the summer. Some other exciting things. Look how many plants there are. Look at each one of these is a different plant. How exciting. I know what you're thinking. There's no way that they could fit this many Big Macs pumpkins inside this tiny little package. Well, there's seeds in here. In fact, there's a couple of seeds in here. I don't know how many. But after 120 days, you'll have yourself a Big Macs pumpkin. When you're planting your garden, don't just plot it out based on the size of the packet, because these will be much larger, like way larger than the packet. So you want to try to research what the size of the final product will be and then plot out your garden like that. Yeah. Some other cool ones. Rutabaga, spinach, sweet corn, other sweet corn, Swiss chard, other Swiss chard, one of my personal favorites, Gardener's Delight tomatoes. Look at these beauties. Look at that. See that? These ones grow in like the summer or something. Delicious. Absolutely spectacular. One other aspect of these seed packets that's important to know about is your gardening zone. So like the US government or whatever determines a garden zone for each plant. So as you can see on the back of the packet here, right there, when should I start planting? So you can see start indoors for like all up here if you're up there, and then start in May and June if you're here, and then April and May if you're in this zone, or April to June if you're in this zone. So for these cantaloupe, for where I am in Savannah, Georgia, it's important that you start it in like May or April. In April, start in April, because you can see right there that you want to start then if you want to start growing these cantaloupe. So instead of packets like this, my God, instead of packets like that, plants also come in another variety called bulbs. So for example, you get these little bulbs that you can see the little bulb sack in there of little bitty bulbs. Basically you just put those in the ground just like seeds, and then they grow from the bulb. I guess onions are the bulb. That's so exciting. So like there are flowers. There are flowers that grow from the bulb. Look at, there are onions that grow from, what the heck? Flowers that grow from the bulb. These are called elephant ears, which I think is kind of a dumb name because that doesn't look like an elephant ear. Just gonna say it. Pollinator mix. These are just assorted flowers, super random, super dumb. Not very much planning goes into these. It's kind of just like a mixed bag, literally. But it'll bring bees and like birds. An important aspect of gardening too is You want to be organic, so you don't want to buy nasty non-organic seeds. You want to buy organic seeds, such as the hell spinach butterfly. That's not real. Um, Here's another type of assorted mix. Wildflower hummingbird and butterfly mixture. This will help attract butterflies and hummingbirds, and just kind of they're random and they're annual. An important aspect of flowers and plants to look at is whether they're annual or not. So, for example, this doesn't say it. An annual plant, you plant it, and then when it's ready to harvest, it's done. It dies, it doesn't come back. But a perennial plant will like come back over and over again, like year to year. It's super cool. I think the naming is the worst naming of anything. There's never been a worsely named thing. An annual plant should come back annually. A perennial, I don't even know what that word means, but I think it should be the opposite. I didn't make the name. Stop talking to me. Okay. In all of my years of gardening, I have never in my life seen a plant that can grow a blueberry pie before. I don't know how that is. I don't know how that works. This plant looks like it's dead, but maybe that's the thing all along. I mean, that's so cool. Who knew? Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of gardens. So, they believe that gardens began in 10,000 BC, which is so long ago I can't even begin to explain to you how long ago that was. And they think it was like a barricade to stop marauders and or stop animals from moving out. So gardens started in West Asia and near Europe, and I think that's really cool. And then they kind of spread from there, which is, I think, super, it's very cool. So gardens have been around for a long time, and somebody who gardens is called a gardener. This is bamboo. There's a Chinese proverb that goes something like, in order to shape bamboo into the way that you want to have it shaped, you have to move it when it's small. And that has a lot to do with, I think that's really cool. And they're so smart for saying that. One of my favorite types of plants is called a stone plant, and this is what a stone plant looks like. As you can see, it looks nothing like a stone. I mean, it kind of looks like a little bit of a stone, but it doesn't really. And this one's all wet, and these are all weird. I don't know. This plant is not real. As you can see, there's paint all over the sides of those. You do not want those in your garden. As discussed before, they are not organic. Not organic. They are not good for your garden. Do not. So we have arrived in the garden center, and as you can see right here, we have these gorgeous ferns. Now, ferns are as old as, they're super old. Oh my gosh, they're so old, it's crazy. So these would make a really cool, dinosaur themed garden. Super smart for that. Another important part of gardening is considering your pots and what you want your pot color to be, and then the size of the pot, because you don't want a giant pot if you only have a little garden. It's gonna take a lot of space or whatever. So You have these ones. This is called terracotta. Terracotta is like a renewable. It's easy to break down and reuse. It's very good for the earth. You'll see if you look in here, most pots have a little hole for drainage. So when you water the plant, like the water comes out the bottom, which is super important for plants. Because plants can drown just like humans. So you don't want to overwater them. And if you do, you want the little hole at the bottom. And this cute little extra thing is kind of like, it's like a little British thing, I think. It's like a little tea thing. You put the pot into the thing, and then you have this little like unit, the whole unit right here. You don't even need anything else. So you put this in you can put it on a like little table, like get one of those little tables, like it's got like little lines in it with a little tiny chair that's too small for any human to fit in, but you put it on the little table, or you put a little stump or a piece of wood, and you put it on the little stump or the piece of wood, and it makes this, it's a whole unit for your garden. If you're rich, then you can buy wood. Most gardens, my gardens, don't have wood. But you can put wood, like this bucket right here, this barrel that you could put like some dirt and some plants in. It's $52. It's acacia wood. Acacia wood is located in parts of the world where acacia wood grows, and they made this one out of it, as you can see, but it's really a flex on your neighbors and anyone who looks at your garden if they see wood, because they're gonna know that you have a lot of money. And I think that's really cool. This plant right here is known as begonia. Begonia is very fun to say. However, I don't really think it's a very pretty plant. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. It might be my least favorite.
At the Lowe's MVP, you get access to exclusive rewards to help level up your business.
I'm recording.
These are hydrangeas. Hydrangeas are really pretty flowers. They can grow up into a whole big tree, and I think butterflies like them, which is really cool. They're a lot better than that stupid butterfly mix of seeds, as I mentioned earlier. The color of hydrangeas, as you can see, there's like a whole bunch of them. Oh my gosh. They come in everything from blue to pink to not pink or blue yet because they're still green, which is really cool. And the reason for that is due to the pH in the soil. Now, you might be asking, what does that mean? I don't know, I'm not a chemist. But hydrangeas are a gorgeous and important flower, I think, for any beginner garden. So these are hoses, and it's important for it's an important part of gardening that I think people often overlook when they're beginner gardeners. So you'll have to buy one of these to water your plants with, but I want you to stop the video right now and think what hose would be better to buy for your garden. Okay, now go. So if you chose this one, then you're probably wrong because it's kind of short. But unless you live, like, your house is like right next to your garden, like, so that one do not want. This one, however, is really long. There's a whole bunch of it, and it can reach really far. 50 feet. That's crazy. And it's medium duty. This is really helpful for watering your plants, and you want to make sure that it can reach from nozzle all the way to your faucet. What? Your what?
Garden.
Garden.
It goes from the faucet to the
From
garden.
the faucet to the garden, all the way there. And next, we're gonna talk about hose nozzles. And as you can see here, there are so many different types of hose nozzles. There's everything from this one, which is super boring, don't get this one, to the really fun ones that everyone loves, that like if you're a kid, it's like essential to growing up as a child, where you have all the different cool settings that you can click to, like jet, full, which like jet, I'll give you a tutorial on these right now actually. So jet is really cool. It's like a insane blast of water, like destroys everything in its path. Full is a disgusting, just like everything happening at once. It's awful, you'll never use it. Flat is like for like you pretend to pressure wash something, because it's like that. Cone is like if you want to spray everything but one thing that's like in front of you, because it goes like this, but not like. And then shower is for like, how would you describe it? Shower is very like, it acts like a, what's that thing where like
Rain.
the water comes, where it's like
Rain. 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 Rain.
I don't know. It's very like a shower mode. It's very helpful. This one's the best one. Right now we're in the sprinkler section. There's a whole lot of sprinklers to choose from. There's like everything from this one right here is called a impulse spike sprinkler. This is like the one that's the dance move is based on. It goes like that's this one. Very classic, very fun. People go, is that a reference? And you say yes. And then there's all sorts of other sprinklers, like this one. You have a turbo drive sprinkler, which is kind of like, it goes like, and it sprays the water out from there. And then there's this one, which I've never seen this one before. It's kind of blowing my mind right now. It's called a metal turret sprinkler. It has 8 different selectable patterns, which is like super crazy cool. So and it gets up to 900 square foot coverage area. These right here are lemons. As you can see here, this is called an improved Mayer lemon. I didn't elect it, but as you can see, lemons are easily identifiable due to their like glossy leaves, very like cool looking, but they also have these crazy sharp prickers that like go really far out. You can see that. See that right there? You see it? See that? Give me this. You can see, whoa, it's right there. So, see it? Right there? That's a pricker. And it's giant. It's a giant pricker. So, yeah. You definitely, if you grow one of those, keep it away from kids, pets, balloons. That's lemon. Nothing says bougie quite like a modern but rustic Jack Daniel's authentic aged oak barrel. I mentioned before how wood says money. Well, a barrel says that and so much more. It shows you have class, you have dignity, respect, authenticity, grit, determination, authenticity, perseverance. You're respected. You're a go-getter. You don't stop. You never sleep. You're always on that grind. You're never not on that grind. It's kind of just the perfect accent to any garden when you've really got it where you need it to be. It's like a giant chip.
MOD to self-checkout for price override. MOD to self-checkout. Thank you.
Where was I? It's like a giant barrel-shaped cherry on top of your garden. But ow! Okay, is that rust? Is that rusty?
Mm-hmm.
Next. These are bushes and shrubs, and I guess trees. I looked up trees. I don't understand trees. They're not like a thing. They're like part of a bunch of other things. There's not just like a tree class. Like there's like fishes and whatever in science. There's trees don't make any sense. Look it up for yourself. I don't want to look it up myself. I don't understand it, but trees and bushes and shrubs can make a great addition to your garden. They can provide shade, and they can provide all sorts of fun things for you to look at in your garden. For example, this plant's very cute. And this plant is very mysterious, so it can add a lot of narrative to your garden and kind of the story and message you're trying to convey with a shrub or a tree or a bush. And that one has flowers, which is so cool.
Go.
This is a Japanese maple. Japanese maples are really cool because they grow up really tall. Like, well, I guess that one's kind of doing it, but they grow even taller. They grow taller than that, actually. How tall do they grow? They were like, and I think like you gotta keep that in mind when you're growing your garden. Like I said earlier, remember this, because these will be much larger, like way larger than the packet. There's gonna be a thing here. It's gonna like play. So remember, it's important to plan your garden for how large the plants are going to be. So this tree is going to be little and cute at first, but then it might take over your whole garden if you're not careful, because it's going to be big. So just keep that in mind. A fence can be a gorgeous addition to any garden. However, a fence doesn't keep out one of a garden's biggest, what do you call them, like pests? I guess so. Deer. The white-tailed deer, especially here in America. The white-tailed deer can jump over that easy, like this, watch. Like imagine that this is the fence. Imagine this is the fence. Watch this. As easy as that, a white-tailed deer can penetrate your defenses and eat your garden, and that sucks. You don't know what to do, you're angry at the deer, you want to kill the deer, but you don't want to kill the deer because you feel really bad and you never forgive yourself. So, I have a few recommendations. So, I'd recommend getting a bunch of little stakes, like wooden stakes that are about this big, like a foot tall, and you put them around your garden, but then you attach fishing line between them, because when the deer touches them, they're freaked out. They want to go. They don't want to know what you got to say. They're gone. So that's a good fix. Another fix is just infinitely tall gates. Just take these chains and just as tall as you can buy. Just have them go up because as tall as you think that a deer can jump, it can jump 10 times higher. They just can. Think of the largest number you can think of right now. Now multiply that by 10. That's a deer can jump higher than that. This right here. Perfect. Just, this is what I'd recommend if you aren't going to use the fishing line. Pop quiz. What would you grow on this type of ground? Trick question. Nothing. Stupid. You can't grow anything on this ground because it's concrete, and you can't grow anything on concrete, so you need soil. And what we're going to talk about next is, you guessed it. Okay. Soil. So soil is basically dirt, but with a couple more things added to it to make it like really good for plants. This is all purpose, so for all your soil needs. You can grow flowers or veggies or fruits or trees and everything. So this is what you're gonna wanna put in your pot or your garden. So yeah, very, very important part. You can't plant anything if you don't have soil, and a lot of beginner gardeners overlook that part. Hey. So next I'm going to talk to you about all the things that are in this aisle. Psych, this is way too advanced for you. You need to wait for part 2 or 3. So stop, because you're not even there, you're nowhere near getting ready for what this is. I'm not even going to begin to explain what that is, because you will be like, what? And I'll be like, psh, and it's not going to go good for you. So, if you can't afford a hose and a cool hose nozzle, because really a cool hose nozzle is the only way to go with gardening, then I recommend getting a watering can. These are classic, these are so fun. Basically just pour water in this hole right here, and then you tilt it, and through the power of gravity, it all pours out this right here onto your plants. And if you're old and frail, do not get this, because they get heavy. You will not be able to carry it. You will be frustrated, you will be annoyed. But if you're not weak, then you can get this and use it. So it's very cool. One question we often get is, how do I just like have this plot of land that's just like dirt and grass, and I need to just turn it into like usable dirt? Well, one thing that you can do, and you have to do actually, it's not an option, you have to buy a rake. You can tell a rake is a rake because it just looks like this, and then you basically just, so you have your ground, and you just kind of, and you do that over and over and over and over again until...
Except that's actually a leaf rake.
And you do that over and over and over again until it looks like a garden. It looks like this. Again, this not even going to talk about right now because it's for check-in for our next episode, for our next special. Because this, we're not even going to talk about this. You don't even know what this is because you're kind of dumb. So, just saying. So that's most of what I have to share about collecting and gathering your parts at the Lowe's, the go-to place for your garden stuff, and yeah.
I love the Science Now Network. I love to learn about
Gila monsters.
Elephants.
panda bears.